PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, soda machines everywhere. Whether you're a freestyle soda machine or you just dispense soda, or you say, "No, I'm a machine name. My name's Soda Pop, man. I'm in a movie," and I'd say, "Okay, great. But weren't you in a book originally? I'm sorry. I'm talking. Am I confused or are you confused, Soda Pop? Oh, your father was Soda Pop. You're just soda. Okay, thanks for the clarification. Because you know where you are. You're in my imagination. I'm trying to start a podcast to put people to sleep called Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And here are a couple of ways we're able to do this for you for free twice a week. Everybody, it's Scoots, and Sleep With Me really wouldn't exist in the world without a functioning democracy, because this show just isn't for everybody. But the beauty is it's available to everybody wherever you want it, whenever you want it. And that's just one part of everything that's going on. And that's why this show is a part of the Pro-Democracy Podcast Coalition. And wherever you are in the political spectrum, I think most of us agree that in a functioning democracy, the winner should be determined by the voters. And that almost didn't happen in 2020. And in some places, it came down to just a few election administrators who stood up to authoritarians and refused to fudge the numbers. And now heading into the next election, extremists are working to intimidate and replace nonpartisan election workers with yes people that might reject election results, and they could pull it off. And this isn't okay. You know, it deals with people not treating election workers with respect. These people are the backbone of our democracy. And in a recent survey, 1 in 5 election workers has said they're likely to quit before 2024. Fortunately, there's ways to help. We partnered with the grassroots pro-democracy organization Represent Us to give you the tools you need to protect free and fair elections. All you got to do is visit represent.us/pod to learn more about how you can show support for election workers and take action against these threats to democracy. And soon we'll have information about how you can become an election worker. So read up, get involved, visit represent.us/pod. That's represent.us/pod. Hey everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix. And I don't know what your experience is with the bed you're in right now. Have you traveled and slept in a bed and then you say, I can't wait to get home to my bed? I love my mattress. If you're not saying that right now, I love my mattress. Even when you stay at a hotel, you're like, I cannot wait to get home to my mattress. You might be sleeping in someone else's mattress, like a mattress that just doesn't fit your needs. And I know I'm sleeping in the right mattress because with Helix, I took a quiz and I got matched with a mattress that's perfect for me. I sleep hot, I sleep on my side, I sleep on my stomach, and the Helix Dusk is perfect for me. I wake up every morning happy with my bed. I don't have aches and pains. I don't say, oh, I wish I could get a new mattress. I say, oh boy, am I comfy and cozy in my Helix Dusk Luxe. And you should figure out what is a mattress that's going to best meet your needs. And the way you do it, Helix has a quiz. It takes 2 minutes to complete, matches your body type and sleep preferences for the perfect mattress for you. Because why would you take a mattress made for someone else? With Helix, you're getting a mattress you know will be perfect for the way you sleep. Everybody's unique. Helix knows that they have several different mattress models to choose from: soft, medium, firm, mattresses for cooling you down, mattresses great for spinal alignment to prevent morning aches and pains. So if you're looking for a mattress, you take the quiz, you order the mattress you're matched to, and the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't ever need to go to the mattress store again. And Helix is awesome. You don't have to take my word for it. Helix has been recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving sleep. Just go to helixsleep.com/sleep and take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that'll give you the best sleep of your life. They even have a 10-year warranty. You get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. Helix even has financing options and flexible payment plans, so a great night's sleep is never far away. And Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/sleep. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast I need you to hear is where I pop my peas. If you please, I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors and let the sponsors know about it. Right now, I'm looking for people. If you support a sponsor, please tag them, tag me, let me know about it. Fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors so I can thank you here on the show. It feels so good. Like I've been talking about, I heard my name on a podcast recently, and I felt so jazzed because they said, yeah, I supported them. I love that show. Or I supported a sponsor. And so I want to thank some people who supported Sleep Phones, who's not a sponsor. Sleep Phones is kind of part of our merch program. And it's a little bit different, but it's also a huge help. I'm using the money coming in from Sleep Phones to help build hygiene kits for the Midnight Mission. So I want to thank Devin, Kim, Jeff, Ray, Steven, Tamara, Alex, and Jacob, who purchased Sleep Phones over the past year and let Sleep Phones know about it and me know about it on social media. It is a huge help getting people to support Sleep Phones. That helps us support the Midnight Mission. You could join us in supporting the Midnight Mission at sleepwithmepodcast.com/Midnight Mission when you purchase Sleep Phones, or you could support them directly or help us build hygiene kits, whatever you wish to do. But if you support a sponsor, you want to hear your name on the show, make sure to let the sponsor know about it and fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. And again, thanks Devin, Kim, Jeff, Ray, Tamara, Alex, Jacob, and Steven. Thank you. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. If you're in extra need, there's resources in the show notes, including international resources you can connect with. It's about being a member of our communities, being a part of positive change with our actions, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAPI hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but taking action to do so. There's links to resources where you can learn more and you can do more in our show notes. And one of the community organizations we've been doing as a community, if you sign up for our newsletter, sleepwithmepodcast.com/Midnight Mission, and it's a free newsletter. You get free streams of live shows. We did a Zoom thing. We're purchasing and putting together hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness and doing it together. I'd love for you to be a part of that and support the Midnight Mission and other organizations that are supporting people experiencing homelessness. It's sleepwithmepodcast.com/Midnight Mission. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/Midnight Mission. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son. Sounds like a near fall. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound or on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at Dearest Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts, things you're thinking about on your mind. It could be feelings, anything you're experiencing emotionally or feeling physically. Sensations, changes in time or temperature or routine. Whatever it is that is keeping you awake, I'd like to take your mind off of it and keep you company so that you could fall asleep. That's really my job. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. So that means I'm gonna get mixed up. I'm gonna go off topic. Gonna get confused. I'm gonna use extra words. I'm not gonna get to the point. It'll feel like the podcast isn't going anywhere. Kind of like someone running on a. Here's the thing: running on a treadmill's not. You're going somewhere. You're just not. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. I guess my metaphors slowly develop. Treadmills. Treadmills. Scooter finds them confusing to use in a metaphor. But really, you're running in place. Is that what they call it? Running in place, so is when you're not on a treadmill. If anybody does use exercise videos, like heels to the butt, so that's one. You could do a running, what is that thing called? Not a cartwheel. Couldn't do that. I couldn't do a cartwheel. Not a good idea for me. I don't think, probably not. What is it? Oh, jumping jack, running jumping jacks, which is technically not a jumping jack. It's like if you could see me doing a running in place jumping jack, you'd have a good laugh. I feel like more it should be called bird running, flapping your wings. So right now I'm flapping my gums though, because I was trying to figure out treadmill. How is treadmill like sleep with me? Well, let's try to figure it out. So if you're new, I'm glad you're here. The reason I make the show is to help. I guess that's why they make treadmills. But let me go expound a little bit better for you about sleep with me. Because but be honest with you, I'm not super familiar with treadmills. And all honesty, the last treadmill I remember using was when I recorded. Actually, this is interesting. Oh boy, this is so topical. We talk about bringing it home early and bringing me right off topic. But here's a little piece of, I guess, what do they call that? Synchronicity. So the last time I used a treadmill, I was on the same street that this episode takes place. Ray's going to talk about a Father's Day trip we took I guess a year or two after you're hearing this. But we went to iDrive in Orlando, and the last time I used a treadmill was not on that trip. Let's hold it right there. And I'd have a hard time guessing the year, 2016, 2015, 2017. I was staying at the Wyndham there, and I was recording some episodes. I recorded it at Sea Life Aquarium, and I stayed at the Wyndham. This was before I had gone to a convention at the Wyndham. So, yeah, it probably was maybe it was 2015. Could have been 2015 even. I don't know. I don't know what year it was, clearly. But I was staying at the Wyndham. I don't normally, I can't highly recommend that Wyndham, just because, but the workout room was great because I used a treadmill. I think I did some other exercise. Because I wasn't there for a conference, I could exercise because it was I did recording and then I went back to the hotel and I had nothing to do. So I ran on the treadmill at one point. They also had a sauna, which you want to win my heart, get a sauna. Or maybe they had a steam. I think they had both. Didn't they also do an episode? I did an episode about that too. So that was the last time I used a treadmill that I can think of. So I'm definitely not a treadmill expert. We've established that. Why am I here to put you to sleep? It might be the main question you're asking if you're new, so I apologize. So the reason I'm here is because you are important and your sleep is important, obviously. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. Now, there are some caveats, but there's no caveat with that. And you may have an internal caveat producer like I do, who says, nah, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You're not important. Your sleep is not important. It is. You deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a safe place where you can rest. Those are facts. They are true. And it's hard to believe for some of us. People outside of this podcast, they might say, what do you mean? Of course you do. But, when you can't sleep, you're a little bit different. But we're all similar. That's the great thing. A lot of us here listening to the show, me making the show, We know how it feels in the deep, dark night. That's one of the reasons I make the show, is because I know how it feels. I know how it feels to strongly not look forward to bedtime. You know what I mean. Stronger words I could use. And that's not fair, right? That doesn't feel good. Or the other feelings you feel in the deep, dark night. So that's one of the reasons I'm here, is because I know how it feels, but also because if you get the sleep you need, if you could look forward to bedtime or at least feel neutral about it and start getting some good rest, have a good bedtime routine, your life will be a little bit more manageable, your life will be better, and the whole world we live in benefits from that. And that's easy, again, to have a caveat about, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true. You deserve a safe place where you can rest, and you deserve your life to be a little bit more manageable, so your life's a little bit better. So that's why I make the show. Okay, that's the most important thing I'll say, period. Couple other things to know, though, if you're new. One, the show is a podcast you don't really listen to. You've already witnessed me go off topic and get mixed up and, confuse metaphors, then go on a tangent about last time I used a treadmill. And that's kind of how the show works. It is like running on a treadmill. You're not going anywhere, but you're moving. And in this sense, it's got hopefully that steady rhythm to take your mind off of stuff. I guess you would never watch someone on a treadmill to take your mind off of stuff, though. And if I'm on a treadmill, believe me, I need something to take my mind off of the fact I'm on a treadmill, or if I'm running anywhere. That's why I listen to podcasts. But this is a show you just barely kind of listen to, and it never feels like it's going anywhere. So it's a little bit like background noise, but it's a little different because I'm like your friend here. I'm here to keep you company, like your borbay, your borcuz, your borsib, your borbestie, your borbra, your borbur, your neighbor. I'm here to be your friend and to take your mind off stuff or make it feel less lonely, whether you're awake or asleep. So while this is a podcast you don't need to listen to, you could listen if you need to. So I'm here to the very end. So if you can't sleep, I'm here to keep you company. And if you're not listening, I'm here to keep you company. So it's a podcast you don't really listen to. It's also a sleep podcast that does not put you to sleep. I keep you company while you drift off. That's my job. Your companion, as I said, in the deep, dark night. And then you say, oh, I don't really need to listen to Scoots. He's just here to kind of barely entertain me or barely keep me engaged. And I say, yeah, I'm just here to be preferable to the internal, whatever I said, not collaborator. But another C word that says, I have a caveat about this. Let me tell you about this, future, past, present, whatever it is that the part of your brain or your body or your feelings want to engage you about when it's just not the right time, right? You're there to go to bed, to get comfortable. So I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of that stuff. So those are other important things. The other thing, if you're new, well, one thing to remember is if you're skeptical or doubtful or frustrated, those are normal ways to get to this show because this podcast is very different. We've already established it's a sleep podcast. It doesn't put you to sleep. It's a podcast that you don't really listen to. So those are already contradictions. And that's just the way this show works. It's one big contradiction. I mean, it is. I was trying to make a metaphor about what are those things called? Running thing, treadmill, and I barely ever used one. But what was my point about that? Oh, so if you're feeling scoutful, doubtful, skeptical, give it a few tries. I'm not exaggerating. Hundreds of thousands of people have said, took 2 or 3 tries to get used to the show. At first, I didn't like it. Or first, I was confused, or I was waiting for it to get started. When's the bedtime story? Where's the sleepy stuff? And then I realized, this is a counterintuitive thing, but it's actually not. As soon as you realize it's not counterintuitive, it's perfectly intuitive. You're here to keep me company and take my mind off stuff. Oh, you're not here to put me to sleep or to be listened to, but you kind of are both, but you're also there to do those things, but in an indirect way. So all that to say, give it a few tries. It's a free show. If it doesn't work for you or you already know that I'm not your cup of tea, that you that the show's not going to help, check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. There's other sleep audios on there and sleep podcasts and stuff like that. Okay, the other thing that can really throw new people off or listeners in general is the structure of the show. And really distributing a free podcast, you get like the structure is very intentional, but then you can adjust the show as you become a regular listener. So the structure of the show is it starts off with a greeting. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Then I try to say something funny so you feel seen, you feel welcome, and you get the tone of the show, a little bit goofy. Then there's support, and there's support for the podcast so it can come out twice a week for free on all platforms, which that support of the listeners and the sponsors makes possible. So that you can listen on whatever podcast app you listen on or for free. So that's what the support is there for. That's the goal. That's my goal behind the show. Then there's support for listeners if you need extra help right now, and there's support for the communities around the show. Then there's the intro. Separate. It's totally separate from the support. It's a show within a show that goes on and on and on. Or for some people, they feel like it's part of the support, or they get frustrated, and I understand that, and there is 2 or 3% of listeners that just skip the intro, start the show at 20 or 30 minutes, and listen from there, and then there's a few thousand people who pay a little bit extra every month as patrons and get story-only episodes. So those are options, but at least at first, give the intro a try, because again, it serves a few purposes. One, it's familiar, so whether you're a regular listener or you're new, you say, okay, Scoots is going to talk about the podcast for 15 or 20 minutes, but it's also different every time. So you say, well, he's not going to talk about it in the same way. He's going to get mixed. He's going to find a new way to get mixed up and confused again or misuse words. So I'm kind of barely looking forward to that. So that's one part of the intro. The other part of the intro is it's ideally a part of your wind down routine or your twilight time. Not the books Twilight, but maybe you're reading those books. But whatever, it's a part of the time that transitions from the daytime, from your waking time to your sleep time, because bedtime routines and having some wind down, from what I've found, from what I've read, and from what personally works for me, and the way the majority of people listen to the show, is winding down is essential. Now, that doesn't mean there's a wrong way to listen to this podcast. But so you could use the intro, you could be getting ready for bed, you could be doing something else, you could like relaxing, you could be in bed. There's listeners that are already sleeping. We're so proud of them and happy for them. But for most listeners, it takes a little bit of winding down. So that's why the intro goes like 10 to 20 minutes and is there. That's one of the main purposes of the intro, is to ease you into bedtime, but in a way that feels familiar. Yet, you know, the parts you, again, the internal, whatever I called it, it wasn't the internal contrarian, but I also have one of those. Wait, no, I don't? Oh, boy, that was the best joke a contrarian's ever come up with. No, it's not. Oh, boy. We can't get caught in this Abbott and Costello thing. We could, but we won't. We will? Please, let's not. Could you, like, stuck here. Okay, we can move. I'm totally stuck and I can't move on. Okay, let's move on. Great. So whatever it is, your internal contrarian, I totally forgot. My internal contrarian threw me off. Intro. Oh, just wind down. Take your mind off of stuff. Why is the intro there? Oh, so that your contrarian can't necessarily adjust. That's why it's different every time. So that's the intro. Then there's, again, support for the show. And again, that just comes back to my goals for the podcast, so that it come out free twice a week on all podcast platforms for as long as we can do that. And that's what makes it possible. So that's the support, sponsor support, listener support. Then there'll be our bedtime story. Tonight it'll be a guest, Ray, my neighbor. He'll come by and talk about some adventures we had to celebrate Father's Day. And then there's some thank yous at the end. So that's the structure of the show. That's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I really, really appreciate your time. I work really hard. I earn and I strive, and I really hope I can help you fall asleep. And here's a couple ways I'm able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Have you tried the Name Your Price tool yet? It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote, and you'll be able to find a rate that works for you. It's just one of the many ways you could save with Progressive. Get your quote today at Progressive.com and see why 4 out of 5 new auto customers recommend Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Hey, everybody. This episode is supported by Radio Headspace, an original podcast from Headspace. And there's 2 episodes I wanted to tell you about I really enjoyed. Finding Joy is an episode about how mindfulness it can help you live a more joyful life. And that is something that comes up for me in my personal life and on the podcast all the time. How do I find more joy? How do I live more joyfully? So a great episode to check out. And another one that's important for me and a lot of other people out there is called Carrying Resentment. It talks about how to handle resentment by looking at where it's coming from and why, so you can begin the process of letting go. And those 2 things to me are interrelated. So check it out. All you need to do is search for Radio Headspace in your podcast player. My thanks to Radio Headspace for their support. Hello, everybody. This is your friend Ray, your neighbor, Scooter's neighbor Ray. But really, so good to be in your ears here. So good to be on your so Scooter got mixed up. A few people on Twitter and email said, Scooter, what about neighbor? Like, couldn't you use that? Boy bae, boy bud, boy bestie, boy buddy, with that boyfriend. What about, like, neighbor? A lot of people said that. Great idea, everybody. But Scooter, of course, you know, he learns differently, and so he said Borber on the podcast. So whether you're a neighbor or a Borber, which is like a boring barber to me, Ray, I said, oh, hello, I'm Scooter's neighbor, Ray. You may be new to the podcast here. So it's so good to be here in your ears with you. I'm Scooter. Scooter normally introduces me, but he forgot. He said, Ray, we were trying to find a few things. And then Scooter was going to do the thank yous. Normally he does the thank yous, and then I go on. He introduces me. That's how Scooter warms up. I warm up, hello. That's all I need to warm up is knowing you're there, getting comfortable in bed, and when Ray can see you there. And you say, well, I'm going to be a boy bud. I'm going to take in for Scooter and sit with you here and tell you a little tale. And so Scooter, he couldn't find the thing he had for the thank yous. We couldn't find his notebook. And I said, Scooter, don't worry. It'll be fine. We'll do the thank yous tomorrow. But so he couldn't warm up. So I'm Scooter's neighbor, Ray. And I'm here to introduce the podcast. It's actually been a while since I recorded, but by the time you hear this, you'll probably have heard from me already, I would hope, because this one's scheduled for pretty far out there. But so, okay, your neighbor Ray, what am I supposed to tell you? Okay, so I'm Scooter's neighbor Ray. I've lived by Scooter. We became friends. We go on trips together. And we haven't recorded in a while just because Scooter and I have been reassessing what's sustainable. We've done some tests on Patreon to see, okay, how often do people want to hear from Ray? But also we've learned that it's hard to mix. Now, it's not always hard, as you'll see, but like your relationship with corporations gets complicated. And also just trying to figure out our time, and when we travel together and we're with other people, we want to be present for them. But this time, oh boy, this is a real raw trip report from a real trip. Wonderful, unbelievable. And that's really why we're here. Now, I'm going to try to, Scooter shared with me some photos, but I wanted to kind of set it up for all use. And just tell you, like, that they call this thing in the U.S. here Father's Day. And we're going to be, I don't know if this episode will come out on Father's Day, but this is a past Father's Day I spent with Scooter. And Scooter and I are much more comfortable calling it Father Figure Day because, I'm not Scooter's father. I'm not his daughter's father. But I would consider myself a father figure. And you don't have to have a father's figure to be a father figure, as Ray is known to say. Like, you could, this is just the truth. I don't say it's in my opinion. Anybody could be a father figure. I thought that was pretty witty. You don't have to have the father's figure. They call it something else, like, is that a dad joke? Is that a father? No, it's a father figure joke about father's figures. I think the Albert and Costello would like that. But we're here to talk about an actual Father's Day that also included changing of the plans from Scooter's wish list for his Father's Day into a Father's Day only, I would have dreamed of as a father figure and that other people could dream of too, but was real. So where do we start? So we start with Father's Day. I'm just scanning through the pictures here, so I'm slightly distracted. So I'll just stop talking. Okay, so I have some pictures here, and I know where the pictures start, so that is good. And I will tell you so that Scooter had to roll with it because, I'll tell you, Father's Day. Okay, so let me give everything a setup here. So usually I recount trips Scooter and I had with his daughter, his little one, or other people, or just the two of us, to theme parks and such things. And so this is now Scooter loves, he doesn't just love theme parks. He loves like what some people would call schlocky stuff or kitschy stuff. He's not a collector of those things, but he likes when a theme park like Universal or Disney is a bit of a spectacle, or Las Vegas, for example. You say it's a bit over the top, it's a bit indulgent. But Scooter also likes the little versions of those things, so the touristy areas. Now, not exactly, Scooter would say, the super touristy areas that are like nearly exploitative. Now, Scooter's never been on a cruise before, but he would use that as an example from his, just as his projection. So it's not based on anything if you're a cruise fan. But what Scooter could conceive as a cruise port in another nation or place where it's, so he said, I don't know if I'm not comfortable with that kind of thing, like the concentrated tourist zone. But one of these places, and Scooter talked about in the intro that Scooter wants to spend some more time in is these off the beaten paths. If we're going to do things with Orlando, Scooter said, I want to be off the beaten path, and I want to see more of the touristy stuff in Orlando. He's already seen it before, but he also wanted to share it with his daughter. And so we had this trip planned. Now, this was a ways ago when you're hearing this, but and he said, I would like us to go to some places that aren't like a theme park or like a Disney or Universal park and spend some time with you, my daughter. And Ray, of course, I said, and Scooter, of course, one of your father figures. He has a father, but you could have a father figure, too. And this wasn't necessarily Father's Day related, just to set it up. But he said, okay. And he had, Scooter's a little bit overambitious, and his daughter's pretty much like that, too. And I'm more of like, okay, well, let's see what we can accomplish. And the good thing about overambition is that when you don't accomplish all the things Scooter wanted to do, pretty much Scooter would say, I want to do everything there is to do in Orlando, next trip, end of story. But that leaves the door open instead of for disappointment for future anticipation. So to set that up there, this trip in this particular summer, Scooter had wanted to go and do everything off of major theme park property. Also, like within a couple days, the good thing was he wanted to prepay for a lot of things because you get a better deal. I said, Scooter, let's hold off on that there. So all is that's to say that what Scooter wanted to do for his Father's Day was not those things. He said, Ray, I got a couple things I've always wanted to do. And I'd love for you and Sophia and I to do these things. One was for Father's Day. One was to drive one of those boats, which they call a water sprite, at Disney World in the big Seven Seas Lagoon. And Scooter said, even if maybe we could even drive over the water bridge and go into the Bay Lake as well. And Scooter said, and I'd like to have a Dole Whip at the Pineapple Polynesian Resort. And he said, well, I guess if we're going to eat for Father's Day, I'd like to do the buffet at Fort Wilderness. So he said, that would be my Father's Day wish. Now, sometimes when you wish upon a star, you get your dreams come true, according to some things, but not always. So, first of all, I applaud Scooter for checking, because he said, I don't think we need to reserve any of this ahead of time, Ray. This will be a flexible one, which worked out. He said, we'll go there. And he said, I'd like to eat at the buffet, but we could see when we get, he goes, we'll set it up a little bit more. But he goes, and then go, maybe we'll have lunch at the buffet, or he goes, depending on when we get up, breakfast, but I don't know, which will make sense in a minute there. And then we'll do the boat thing, or maybe we'll do the boat thing, and then we'll get the Aloha, what's it called? Dole Whip there at the Polynesian. So at the time we went, it was it was a time, it was after everybody, things were settling down, but they weren't back to normal. And so there was a couple things that made this a tough pull-off. One, there was no buffets at that time at Disney, so the buffet was out. I think that was the last thing we learned, though. Two, the Polynesian was closed except for DVC members. So I don't think all the restaurants were open. And three, Disney was not renting out boats at this time. Even though it was, this was, it was 2020, I believe, when we did it. 2021. No, it's 2021, Scooter just said. So, hello, 2022, I think is when you're hearing this. Is that right? Holy moly. So it's 2021. And, wow, Ray's just stunned at the pass. But anyway, so Scooter had looked it up, I think either before we went to bed or in the morning. And he said, okay, well, there's no boats, so we can't do the boats. I think he looked it up in the morning, and he said there's no buffet, and there's no Dole Whip, because we didn't have tickets to the park or anything. This wasn't like a day we were going to go to a theme park. Now, there was one other thing that sets this up to make it make more sense of why we weren't going there for breakfast, which is actually good, because I think we did find out at breakfast that all this was closed. And Scooter said, well, we'll have to make other plans there. But there was another thing on Scooter's bucket list. Two things. I wouldn't say bucket list. That's a little bit strong. Things he really wanted to do for Father's Day. And one of them was because it was Father's Day, he was able to say, well, it's Father's Day. We got to do this because it's something I wish to do. Now, we were staying not at a hotel on a theme park property. We were staying at a Hyatt something or other, Cypress something. And this is an important part of the story for two things. One, Scooter got free breakfast. And again, if you listen to the Patreon bonus stuff, I kind of explain, Scooter, I don't even think we pay. I think Scooter didn't have to pay for the room either because he used points. And in some sort of combination, free breakfast was included in all that. So we had free breakfast every day. So Scooter, of course, he said, well, I don't want to go to the buffet. If we're going to have free breakfast, we might as well eat up free breakfast and we're getting full value for our time. And they actually had a pretty nice breakfast at this place there. Now, that was one part about it. Now, Scooter would say, and we'll talk about this maybe another time, this hotel, but I would say this may be Scooter's new home hotel in Orlando when we can make it work points-wise and financially. And compared, no offense to Disney, but compared to Disney, what you pay, if you were even paying rack rate at this hotel, you get a lot for your money. And one of the things is this place has like a big piece of land that it owns, or rents or whatever. And they have bikes included. Now they have a resort fee. Again, the great part of dealing with Scooter, no resort fee. But again, because of the points or whatever he was doing, no resort fee. So, but part of the resort fee pays for, you get free bike and boat rentals. They have a little lake there, and they have bikes, and you can ride around the resort. And that was Scooter's main thing he wanted to do to start out his Father's Day. Now, I think we had breakfast, then we went for the bike ride. So we had breakfast. The only thing I can see from pictures from the breakfast, oh, yeah, the pictures show it all, Ray. Hello. I go through the pictures there. So we had breakfast. The only picture of breakfast is Scooter's fruit bowl, which had blackberry, blueberries, and not a honeydew, but the other one. Is that that's not a honeydew. It's the other kind of melon that you have with a breakfast buffet. And then we went and got our bikes there, and we went out riding in the hotel grounds. And they have like a tennis, like they must have tennis competitions there. And so they have like a lot of tennis courts, and not just for the hotel guests, I guess. So we went there. Then there's a road that's supposed to connect to another hotel and golf course, but that road was only open part way. But you're going through all these trees. You feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, and maybe see a couple people running around the bikes there. But other than that, it was so nice. Big trees, the sounds of the bugs. And we rode out on this road, kind of a road to nowhere. It was really nice. Then we came back, and then we took a dirt path. Now, again, Scooter's daughter and I, it's Florida. It's still in the morning, so it's not too hot there. But, neither one of us was in a hurry to do a lot of exercising, where Scooter loves this kind of thing. And now he had already found out the news that he couldn't do what he expected to do for Father's Day, which was okay. But so we took the bikes on this dirt path there. And there was like even a place, maybe at some point they had horseback riding. It looked a little bit run down, but in a good way. And so we went there. Then we found a wedding pavilion themed to a Western town, like an old-fashioned Western town for like your wedding or your wedding reception, tucked away. And then another wedding area. And we said, oh, isn't this cute? People could have a wedding reception at an old-fashioned Western town. Then we went around the front of the hotel, which is also kind of lush, and there's like a waterfall there. And Scooter just said, I want to look at the waterfall, even though you couldn't really do anything. It wasn't water you could get into, but that was fun there. Then we rode around again, but we had to ride on like something like mulch, and his daughter and I were like, Scooter, this mulch is not fun to ride a bike on. But there was all the trees, they were hanging with Spanish moss, and it was quite beautiful there. Holy cow, was it beautiful. So then Scooter said, okay, let's all take showers here and take our turns in our hotel room, which was perfect. And then what we'll do is he goes, I've got a plan, so don't worry. I've got a plan. There was something else I wanted to do. There was something else I wanted to take my daughter to. And he goes, I'm pretty sure there's a corporate chain restaurant that my daughter's never been to, that there used to be one at Carousel Mall that closed. And he goes, again, it's a corporate, chain restaurant, but he goes, it has a special place in my heart. So, and he goes, I actually ate at this restaurant once when I think he talked about in the intro, not the restaurant, but when he stayed at the Wyndham there and recorded at the Seven Seas Pavilion or whatever it's called with the fishes and stuff. So he said, the plan here is we're going to drive over there. We're going to do some fun stuff. One will be pretty intense, thrill type attraction, and something will be mellow. And he said, I went and bought the tickets ahead of time since it's the day of and we're going there. And then we headed out. Now, we had a car. We didn't have a rental car. We actually had Scooter's parents' car. because we were going to relocate it for him later in a couple weeks, back from Florida to New York. But so there was a lot. Now, this is something nobody talks about, but the traffic in Orlando, even like on a Sunday, can be very unpredictable. So we had a bit of traffic. Scooter said, okay, if I did this differently, I would have stayed at a hotel, because he said there's a Hyatt Place. There's also another Hyatt I never stayed at there. And so he said, if I was going to do it again here, I'd stay at one of those hotels, because doesn't make a lot of sense to like be doing so much driving around. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but we got to the restaurant. The Scooter knew right where it was. I think the map was going there anyway, and we found out he wanted to eat at Pizzeria Uno. Now, I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes there, and of course, but this was Scooter's day, and he said again, this is like leaning into the tourist experience. And again, your friend Ray and Scooter, like this whole international drive is so, like, we would love if Len Testa and Jim Hill could do like an economics of this area, because again, it's like so many places, so many hotels and chain restaurants, even a few independent restaurants there, and tourist sites, and it's just fascinating. So we got to Pizzeria Uno, and again, because we had a big breakfast, I'm guessing it's right, like, well, I could look at the time here, I guess. I don't have any pictures from there, but I do have a picture. Okay, this is later in the day. But let's see here. Just give me 1 second here. This is your friend Ray. This is when Scooter bought the tickets. Maybe he bought them. Oh, interesting. That can't be. Well, maybe it is. So I'm guessing probably we're eating lunch at about 2 p.m., though it could have been noon, because I don't know if these pictures are around East Coast time or West Coast time, because it says 3:38 p.m. there. But I don't know if it's local, So we don't know that. But so let's just say around like a late lunch, we got to Pizzeria Uno. There was a lot of cars in the parking lot. Oh, again, yes. Scooter said, well, that's weird, because it's like after lunch rush, but before dinner rush. And we ate at Pizzeria Uno. Now, during this time, 2021, eating anywhere was a challenge, because staffing and all the changes and everybody getting back to normal was challenging for everybody. So anytime you went to eat somewhere, at least in the summer of 2021, it was a bit like rolling the dice, like what the experience was going to be like. And that's understandable, because everybody's just doing your best. But Scooter was hopeful. He said, okay, hopefully this is a corporate restaurant, like it's later in the lunch rush, hopefully it'll be okay. And it was wonderful. So everybody was doing the best there. And Scooter's, like, we were able to get the kind of pizza Scooter wanted, and something his daughter wanted, and our sodas were filled up. I think at this time we were drinking iced tea, maybe, because Scooter was still trying to behave. But so we had a wonderful lunch, and it was just kind of like what the Scooter had ordered, because he ordered the lunch there. And I don't think we had dessert, because I think Scooter was like, well, we'll get dessert later. Like, also we were kind of full from the pizza and and all that. And we were excited for the next stop. So we had these tickets. Now, this was the first error Scooter made, and he'll be perfectly honest. But, he's a bit of a rule follower. He should have, where we were going was not that far from Pizzeria Uno. And so we should have just left the car at Pizzeria Uno, because, we paid, a good amount of money for lunch, and parking was free where we were going. But he did not. He said, let's move the car to the parking where we're going, follow the rules. And that was a challenge, because, Father's Day, and a lot of people were out. It was the summer. This is when the kind of rubber band kind of snapped back. Everybody was getting out of town and such things. So it took a little bit of work to find a parking spot there, and there was even traffic just to get into the parking, but we eventually found a spot. And we parked, and that's when we realized we were going to Orlando Eye, or I think it's called the Icon at Icon Park, or Orlando Eye at Icon Park or something. And Scooter said, I bought a combo ticket. So we parked the car, and then we found a pretty long lines. And again, of course, there's a lot of bathroom situations. So Scooter said, Ray, you and Sophia wait in this line to get on the Orlando Eye, and I'll go in the line to get the tickets because I already paid for the tickets, but then you got to go to Will Cool. And, of course, in the back of Scooter's mind, he's always worried about getting, even though he bought the tickets through a company he's familiar with, he's always thinking there's going to be an issue. So I think Scooter left us. He ran and used the bathroom. It was a pretty long line, but not a long wait, like a reasonable line, I would say. And then he got in line, and he was concerned he was in the wrong line. And he was also concerned that he wouldn't get, that there would be some sort of hiccup. And when he did it, the guy said, well, like he was making noises like that. And Scooter was like, and the guy said something, and Scooter said, well, I paid for the tickets. It's right here. And the guy said, okay, well, I'm going to have to call them. But it ended up, it was just like, I think we had some other hiccup before, earlier in the trip or something. But it ended up, it was just like a little bit of extra work. But it wasn't any complication. It just took a while because there was multiple layers of approval or something. But this gentleman printed out our tickets. Then Scooter went back to the line. Then Sophia and I got to use the restroom. And by the time we got back, we were pretty close. And we got out. Now, so Sophia and I had never ridden the Orlando Eye together. So we got to go on the Orlando Eye. Now, it was harder for Scooter because he got to do a show from there and ride it as much as he wanted. And because it was 2020 or 2021, we got to have our own car there. And the Orlando Eye's air conditioned. It was a little bit overcast of a day, but it wasn't foggy or anything. And so we went up there, and that was so much fun. Oh, boy, was that a view there. And we got a beautiful view. First, we got let's see. I'm trying to look through the pictures. Yeah, we had a view. We could see our car and where our car was parked there. And I drive. Then on the other side, and I don't think Scooter, maybe he talked about it in his Orlando Eye show. I think it's Boeing has a gigantic campus that I've never seen before. I'm looking at the sky. It was like Orlando stormy sky, pre-stormy sky there. But yeah, I couldn't believe the extent of this Boeing facility. I think that's who it is, or something Dynamics or something. And I don't know if that was the land that Universal used to own, and then they sold it when they were owned by Vivendi. I remember reading the book, but that's quite a piece of land if that was what they sold there. But so we went up, we saw our car, and then Scooter pointed out our next destination, which was the Orlando Starflyer. We saw the parking lot, and then we got very, I would not say excited for this Orlando Starflyer. Now, if you go to Orlando, not only do I recommend going to iDrive or having a view of iDrive, but I strongly recommend doing it at night because, holy cow, this Orlando Starflyer and the Orlando Eye, the lighting packages on these things are just absolutely phenomenal. Like, you could just watch them all night long. And that's another thing that, now we were there during the day, so, it's very cool to look at. Now, I don't think they would be as cool. It might be interesting to ride them at night, and the Starflyer in particular. But the Orlando Eye, maybe not so much, and maybe at a discount, and maybe say, oh, okay, you get to come back again. Maybe they have that kind of ticket. I don't even know. But so we rode the Orlando Eye, and we saw the Starflyer, and then we got off. We used the restroom again. It don't think we got anything. It was very busy. They have a food court there, and that's where the C's is and the Madame Tussauds or whatever. And even the Icon Park has been developed since Scooter was last there. And a lot of, it's very nice. Oh, boy. Like there's restaurants and bars, and everybody looked like they're having a good time. I think sometimes they probably have live music. And we were just curious, too, like how many people are local versus tourists. But everybody looked like they're having a nice day. So then we walked to the Orlando Starflyer. And Scooter said, Ray handled this one for me. So it's a tower. Like that tower's up there, and it has a very good view. But it's also one of those swing rides like that. You sit in a swing, and you go around like a merry-go-round. This one is a dual swing, so you sit with two people. So I did not go with Scooter and his daughter. As a matter of fact, I just observed because I said, I'm more comfortable observing here from the ground. But from what Scooter said, you sit in there, they go over everything, they're very clear, and then the swing starts going, and you go up and you get an amazing view. I don't know if you go as high. Scooter said he did, like he was the reverse. He said he didn't look up. He said, I didn't want to look up, but he goes, you get a good view, Scooter said. Just say that, Ray. Beautiful view, a lot of cool air, and you go around, and it's quite thrilling, Scooter said, and beautiful views, very similar to different views than Orlando Eye because you're moving at a different pace. And then we got down, and we were thrilled, Scooter and his daughter were, because they went on it. And then Scooter said, okay, let's keep this adventure going. And he said, let's go to like one of those tourist. He goes, I'd like to just drive around a bit. Always wanted to, he goes, I have a little bit of a regret about this iDrive. And we said, okay, Scooter, tell us what your regret is and we'll help soothe it. And he said, well, okay, so during the history of the podcast, I stayed at this Wyndham. He said either 2 or 3 times. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 times. Oh, no. 2 times he stayed at the Wyndham and once at the Hyatt Place. Hyatt Place, yeah. He went to 2 conferences at the Wyndham. Stayed there once when there was no conference before. Then stayed there again at the conference. And then stayed at the Hyatt Place because, free breakfast and Scooter, it's easy. I think it's... Scooter likes being able to walk to conferences and not stay at the conference hotel all the time. But during those times, Scooter said, I've walked all the way to the convention center end of iDrive, never past the convention center, because he said, I don't know what's past there anyway, not much. But he said, on the other side, I've only gone as far as the McDonald's, which is just across kitty corner from the Wyndham where he had stayed there. He got a Shamrock Shake at the Wyndham or the McDonald's and had lunch there. And I think someone once said it was the biggest McDonald's in the world, but it isn't. It was, or maybe, I don't know. There's also a show that Scooter said, wow, that would be cool to go to. Well, not this trip, but like a dance and musical show across the street there on the corner. But he said, I'd like to go down that street and see where it goes, and I think it'll go eventually to Universal, and we were going to pick up our annual passes that we had bought when they were on sale. You get like 16 months for 12 months or something. And just walk around City Walk or go into Universal. But he said, first I want to go to like a tourist place and see that drive, and then we'll figure it out from there. He goes, maybe something else will come up. Because Scooter also wanted to go to Old Town, Kissimmee, all these fun spots. So we said, okay, let's go to this tourist place. So we pulled in, we went down iDrive that way. We crossed whatever that major intersection is. We started driving. And then Scooter found this place called Bargain Planet, which looks like a spaceship there. It has like it has like a UFO with planets circling it, and then it even has a tower with a person from outer space wearing a hat. So very right in Scooter's wheelhouse, So we went in there, and it was big inside. And I think we ended up going to one of these places. I don't know if it was the same day when we were walking on iDrive. It may have been. So I don't know if this was our second or our first tourist type place, but we went in there, and it was not it was like in 2021 you say, well, I don't know how much, we had coverings on and those things, and we were already protected, but it was Scooter said it was a little down, like it wasn't one of the kind of place experience that lifted you up. Like it was schlocky, but in a dusty way. But that just might have been our mood because we had been, but we had fun. I guess Scooter would have preferred if there was something like, other than like 99-cent shirts, like 99-cent cold waters, a Gatorade, or something else, like to pull you in there, but there wasn't. Now, again, we go into another small regret of Scooter's, but they opens a window. We left there, and I think somewhere behind there is one of the fun spots or the old towns or something. And we did not go there because Scooter said, well, I don't know. And he also said, well, like he'd already told Sophia we were going to go to City Walk, so she was excited. And then we drove in Universal, not that far from where we were with the tourist place. It was two of Universal's new hotels that we've never seen before, Surfside and Dockside. And we pulled down the street there. And for a second, Scooter thought about going in and parking just to use the, so we could eat at the, or check out the food courts. And we didn't. And Scooter said that was an error. So he said, Ray, that was a mistake. This is afterwards. And he not in a negative way. He said we should have stopped there, checked out one of the hotels so we could have seen it for our own eyes, because that's something we love to do. But he said also we could have taken the bus to Universal and tried it out. But also because of this is when you say Monday morning, looking back, whatever you want to call it. But Scooter said, nah, let's just go to Universal and park the car. But because, again, like 2021, it was a time when everybody was doing the best. And so when we got to park the car, it was dinner time, and there was the traffic line. There wasn't very many lanes open, and it was very, very busy. Because I think a lot of people were saying, well, let's go to City Walk, let's go to Universal for the evening or whatever they were doing. And because if we took the bus, we would have parked for free. But because we were going to get our annual passes, you still have to pay for parking. And Scooter said we would have got around that if we would have took the bus from the hotel that we weren't staying at. And I said, Scooter, and he said, yeah, but it would have been an adventure. Now, we were still on an adventure. So it says, Scooter, we were still on an adventure. So what we did was we went, okay, I got my pictures here. Now, let me look at this time from Bargain. It says 4:44 p.m. So that was definitely a local time when we were at the Bargain Planet. What time were we at the Orlando Starflyer? Looks like we got off at 4:42 or 4:34. Let's see. This picture from, 3:58. So these are local times probably. 4 o'clock, we were on the Orlando Eye. 4:30, we were either getting on the Starflyer or getting off of it. It's about a 4-minute ride anyway. And then we were at Bargain Planet about 4:45. So then we drove to Universal. There's a picture. Oh boy, that did take a while there, because I have a picture of Scooter's foot that maybe he took accidentally. Let's see. Can we bring up a map to see exactly where that is or what? We can. This is getting ready to walk into Orlando. Okay, so Wow. So it took us about an hour to park the car, to get from Bargain Planet to park the car, and then walk through City Walk. So that was a little bit of a thing. But also maybe 20 minutes of that was probably walking and getting into the park. But we parked the car eventually, no problem, after we got through the parking place. Then we headed to the ticket place, and we said, well, should we eat at City Walk or should we eat in Orlando Universal Studios? And his daughter said, of course we're going to eat in the studios. Come on. So we went into the studios there, and first we had a voucher for the annual passes we had purchased. So actually, it's funny. Ray said we're not going to any parks, but we are, I guess. Now, we were going to this park with a pretty specific intention, which was to recreate photos of Scooter's daughter from other trips. So we had a little bit of a to-do list. So first, we went to a store that's run by SpongeBob SquarePants. And we took now this is about 6 p.m., but we took some pictures of his daughter in the pineapple under the sea and in some sort of raft chair that says out to lunch. And so that was like 6 o'clock there. Oh, then there was a Fast and the Furious for Fast 9, F9. One of Dom's car was there. Oh, what is this? Diagon Alley. A picture of Diagon Alley. Where's that from? 7:05 p.m. there. Oh, I guess so at 7:05 p.m. we were in the Wizarding World. So we didn't do any, I don't remember any of this. I don't have any. And then we went to Universal, what do you call that place there? To the Fast Food Boulevard. I bet you Scooter, oh boy, I forgot, of course, Scooter had to get a soda pop there. So this was interesting. So Scooter, this doesn't exist anymore. Another thing he did was prepay for one fast service meal plan, with the theory that his daughter would then have freedom to kind of so you got one fast food combo meal a day and one snack, two snacks or something. And the snacks would be good for butterbeer. So, because his daughter, kids love that butterbeer. And then, Scooter would get his unlimited soda cup. So we went and got his soda cup. And now the gentleman, that gave the soda cup actually gave us the cup, but I don't think he it wasn't set up for the whole trip. Like it was supposed to be set up for the whole trip, but he only activated it for the day or something, not in a way that actually it worked out. Because then the next day when we actually got it formally activated, so it worked out that it was active for when we were going to be there. So then Scooter had his soda cup. His daughter had his little meal plan card. Then we went to Fast Food Boulevard to eat at the Simpsons. So it has a bunch of Simpsons restaurants, Simpsons themed. It's like a Simpsons themed fast food place. So there's Lisa has a little tea shop where you can get tea and cakes and those kind of things. I think it's called Lisa's Tea House of Food or something. Then there's Cletus has a chicken place. Then there's a fish place, kind of based on the fish place from The Simpsons. I don't know. Scooter's not good with any of this, what it's called. And then there's a pizza Italian place. And then there's a Krusty Burger. So we were wanting to try the Krusty Burger because we'd never tried it before, that Scooter remembered. So we actually got one of the Krusty Burgers, the one that's the best reviewed there. And we shared just one meal, maybe, or 2 meals between the 3 of us. And we had some fries. We had the burger, very good burger. And it was nice. We enjoyed ourselves. Then we went, it looks like then we left. I mean, according to the pictures and stuff, I don't know. So I'm guessing, though, what else would we have done? Because I don't have Scooter's notebook. So I guess maybe we'll have an addendum on here. But just off the top of Ray's head, what we would have done is we probably wrote E.T. after we took the pictures at SpongeBob, because you can't not ride E.T. And then I'm guessing we also waited in line for The Simpsons, because usually on a Sunday afternoon, evening, probably was like a 30-minute, and I can remember waiting in line for The Simpsons because they have the movies running. And so I know we did those two things. Maybe we also did Gringotts single rider line. I'm just picturing, I'm almost positive we did, because Scooter's daughter was very excited, and I can remember her saying, oh yeah, because usually when you do that, you never know what the line's going to be, because we didn't have any fast passes or anything. But like sometimes with the Gringotts single rider line, it can be really far backed up where you're waiting almost as long as you'd wait in the regular queue. This time we walked right up. There's only two people in front of us, so we got right on. I think we rode it right again right after that, because she said, one more time, let's do this. So we rode it again. I don't think that's probably all we did. Maybe we got a butterbeer. We didn't take any pictures, because I got to imagine for Father's Day, Scooter would have wanted, we had a shake with our Krusty Burger. But is that the only dessert that we had, Scooter? I don't know. But yeah, that's it. I mean, that was a nice little Father Figures Day. I hope if you're hearing this, you celebrate your father figures, or you have it, or you celebrate yourself. You could be your own father figure, and celebrate it for just you, and say, hey, I'm going to pat, you're doing as good a job as you can. Just like in 2021, we were all just doing the best we could. And trying to be patient, trying to treat everybody with dignity and respect. And maybe Ray will be back here with a quick addendum, but I'm not so sure. So I'm going to say goodnight and tuck you in just in case. Good night, everybody. I just want to thank everybody that reviewed the show on Apple Podcasts recently. Let's see. Crimson says, ex-overnight worker, this is what I needed. Used to work night shifts, and this podcast would always help me reset my sleeping patterns. Now I use it when I'm anxious to sleep, and it works well. Don't think I've heard the end of an episode. JSH says, awesome podcast. This is such an awesome podcast to fall asleep. I find it much easier when there's a voice there and I'm not alone. Thank you. Let's see. Lily says, it's helping my sleep and marriage. Newly married and moving in together, and our night routines are different. I'm someone that needs one type of sound. He needs another type of sound. And so we were both wearing each other out. And then I started playing boring podcasts that wouldn't pique his curiosity and keep him up. And the TV was not boring enough. Googled boring podcasts and found you. Thanks. Robin says, it's 5 stars, so I think this is a joke. Too interesting. You're too interesting, and you keep my friends awake and wanting more. Hannah says, thank you. This started this podcast when I was 3 years old, and now I'm 11, and helps me go to sleep now that I have to get up for school. Thanks, Hannah, or Hannah. Hannah or Hannah, let me know what's correct. MME says, love this podcast. It's a great podcast, very soothing and boring. I love Scooter. And Boo says, can't live without it. Love this podcast. Hilarious, compassionate, inclusive, appeases me, relaxes me. Great job. I support it on Patreon. So thanks everybody who took the time to review the show, and let me know. I appreciate it. Sleeping exists as a free podcast twice a week, over an hour, because of people who support the show on Patreon, so people who support our sponsors. And we grow as podcasts by people letting people know about podcasting in general or Sleep With Me specifically. You can even get rewarded by doing our referral program at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. And thanks to the sponsors and even these tuck-in sponsors, our feed went from just 200 free episodes to, as of today when I'm recording this, which will be months ahead, there's over 350 episodes in our free feed. So thank you for everybody that makes that possible by supporting the sponsors and stuff. I really appreciate it. So yeah, here's one more thing to tuck in. All right, everybody, and now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. You know, we all experience burnout. Sometimes for me, it comes from working too much, but a lot of times it comes from how I deal with thinking too much or how I deal with my feelings or the priority I put on taking care of myself and making time for my self-care. And I don't know, have you ever felt burned out? Like, what does it feel like for you? We all know life can be overwhelming. Many people are burned out without even knowing it. Symptoms can include lack of motivation, irritability, fatigue, and more. And we associate burnout with work, but that's not the only cause. Any of the roles in our life can lead us to feel burned out. BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to prioritize yourself. Talking with someone can help you figure out what's causing stress in your life. And when people in my life, my personal life, talk to me about stress, talk to me about burnout, talk to me about feeling overwhelmed, I tell them about BetterHelp. I tell them about my experiences with therapy and what I get out of the work I do every week with my therapist, the tools it gives me, and the consistency and all the wonderful things it brings to my life. And I say, hey, check out BetterHelp. Because BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme. BetterHelp. Check it out, everybody.